mute everybody now, just in case. There we go. All right, let's come to a comfortable seat. And so as you take your seat, have the intention of finding that place where your spine can be as long and open as possible. So that includes creating that lumbar curve, your belly tilting a little bit forward, and then resting your hands down, lengthen up through your sides, and let your eyes close. And as you start to bring your awareness to your breath, observe your breath moving through your body. We've been focusing on it from the root to crown on the inhale and crown to root on the exhale so that it moves in the direction of the chakras. Ultimately, our breath, if we focus on it the other way, actually works a little bit more in line with how the diaphragm works. So we're going to go back to that now. As you inhale, think of your breath moving from crown to tail. And as you exhale, tail to crown. And even more so, inhale, crown to tail down the front. Exhale, tail to crown up the back. A few more breaths this way. And then bring your hands to connect at heart center. And as you gently press your palms together, lift up and open through your heart space and take a full breath. On your next exhale, bow towards your heart, honoring yourself for taking this time to be present and aware. And then softly opening your eyes, release your hands down, and then lift your gaze. And as you take your shoulder blades onto your back, take a moment with your head over to the right side to breathe into the side of your neck on the left. And then head over to the left side, and again, breathe into the side of your neck on the right. Inhale back up to center and even lift your chin up toward the ceiling to get that length through the front part of your neck. And then drop your chin down, finding that length through the back side of your neck. Shoulder blades on your back here. Take a full big breath. And then back to center, turn your head over to the right side and tuck your chin down, take a full breath. And inhale back to center. Exhale over to the left and tuck your chin down. Full deep breath. Inhale back into center. And then left fingertips to the floor beside your hip. Reach your right arm up and over your ear. And then work your way as deeply into this side stretch as your body is ready for. Giving a good press with your left hand to help you expand more into the right ribs. Deep breath. On your exhale, turn your torso down. Reach a little further in that diagonal. Pull in with your ribs, allowing for the upper back to get a little more expansion. And then inhale, turn up and open all the way back up to your tall spine. Right fingertips to the ground. Left arm reaches up and over. And again, you can take that as far as it feels good in your body. And then press, expand the left ribs. Take a full breath. Then exhaling, turn down, reach in that diagonal, pull in with the ribs, deep breath. Inhale, turn up and open and rise all the way back up. Go ahead and switch the cross of your legs. As you come to that second cross here, shift your sitting bones. And then turn your torso to the right side and walk your hands out toward in front of your right knee. You might have your hands up on a block here. You might have hands on the ground, but work your way as deeply into that fold as your body is ready for. Take a big deep breath and think of letting your ribs turn just a little bit more to the right. And then walk your hands into center and find a comfortable distance away from yourself. Again, you can have a block underneath your hands here if you like, but move through a couple rounds of your cat and cow. Inhale, belly and heart forward. Exhale, round back through your spine. Then inhale your heart forward and work as deeply into a fold as your body is ready for. And take a couple big breaths. You're welcome to add the little bits of movement through hips, through your sides, whatever feels the best in your body. Deep breath. And then inhale, bring yourself all the way back upright. Turn your torso toward the left knee. And then walk your hands forward so you have about that space right in front of your knees, or maybe you bring your hands up to a block here, but turn a little more through your ribs and extend further through your spine. Come as deeply into this fold as your body is ready for. Take a deep breath. And then inhale, bring yourself back upright. Walk your fingertips behind and come a decent distance away where it's still comfortable here to press down and find a lift, an opening through your heart space. Shoulder blades are engaged. Take a full breath. And then gently bring yourself all the way back upright. And we'll shift forward onto hands and knees. And from hands and knees, and set yourself up, wrists under shoulders, knees under hips. And then as you set yourself up here to press palms and root down to your fingertips, also tuck toes so you have a little engagement through your legs. And then move through that slow, thoughtful cat-cow here. Inhale, belly toward the ground, opening and expanding through the heart. Exhaling, round upward through your spine. Take 2 more full big breaths. On your next exhale, you can set the tops of your feet down and shift your hips back towards your heels into your child's pose. And settle head down onto the floor or your blocks, or maybe stack your hands under your head. Whatever feels the best in your body. Take a full big breath. And now as you inhale and rise back up to hands and knees, reset yourself. And then we're keeping hips level, but lifting the right leg up behind us. So the tendency is to turn up and open with the hip. Keep your hip level, bend your knee, press your heel toward the ceiling. And then without lifting the right hip, you're rotating the right leg in the hip socket. So it won't be as big and open as your movement maybe typically is. And a couple of circles in one direction, trying to keep your hips level. And then circle in the other direction, again, trying to keep your hips level. And now go ahead and cross right leg behind the left. And then you're using your hands to help you shift your hips back towards your heels to find that stretch through the SI joint, through the low back, the glute. Take a big breath in this cross-legged version of child's pose and maybe walk your hands a little further forward or even out to the right side. Take a big full inhale and exhale and let your breath move into your left ribs, into your left hip, into any of the tight stuff that might be present through your hip. And now back into center, rise back to hands and knees, reset yourself. And again, keeping the hips level, lift your left leg. And even think of bringing a little rotation downward with the outer hip, and then bend your knee. Again, hips try to stay steady as you move. Your leg in the socket, the femur bone in the hip socket. And then switch directions with those circles. And then set left foot, left knee behind the right. You can always set your feet down here. And then work hips back towards your heel into this cross-legged version of child's pose. Maybe walk your hands forward or out to the left and take a deep breath. And then back into center here, uncross your legs, and this time big toes together, knees wide, if it's comfortable to settle your hips back. Full breath as you settle your head down. Take 2 more full deep breaths right here. And then inhale, rise back to hands and knees. And we're stepping right foot forward in between your hands. And you can always have blocks underneath your hands here, but work your back knee back as far as you need. So you have that longer stretch through the back thigh. Extend your heart forward and take a big breath. And now work your front leg towards straight. We'll just take one hamstring stretch. And as you pull your toes back, front leg towards straight, think of sending sitting bones up and back, extending your heart forward. Deep breath. Then inhale, bend into your front knee, and we'll take our hands to the inside. Heel toe your front foot out to the right side, knee and toes in the same angle. And then as you extend further forward with your heart, work down toward one elbow, maybe 2 elbows, maybe elbows on a block. Take a big deep breath and just notice for yourself what and where the sensations are. Two more big breaths right here. And so now we're gonna roll to the outer hip on our left leg. So I'm moving my blocks away to help that. And my right leg is gonna stay in front, and it might have to turn to help this happen, but I'm gonna turn to set right down onto my hip. So as you do this, your back leg might bend. It doesn't have to be straight, but then turn your belly and your heart more forward, more toward the front of your mat. And from here, if you want, you can always take a block or a blanket underneath your arms to settle a little bit deeper. Take a full big deep breath wherever that is for you. Ultimately, we're using our body weight as a little bit of a fascia release tool here on the outer hip, the outer leg, but you really get to decide and notice where it is for you. You might be experiencing a lot of sensation through the right leg and the right hip. And now rise back to your hands, and we'll come back to that lunging position. And then we're going to take a spinal twist. So set the left hand on the edge of your mat or on a block, right hand to your knee as you turn your belly and your heart toward the right side. Take a big deep breath here. And then bring both hands back to the ground, settle back to hands and knees. Pause and move in whatever way would feel good to you. Cat and cow, side to side sway of hips, circular motions, whatever you need. And now stepping left foot forward in between your hands. And again, you can always use blocks if you'd like. Work your back knee back as far as you need. Take a deep breath. And now work hands to the inside, and you can heel toe your front foot. Oh, just kidding. Bring your foot back. We're going to do the hamstring stretch first. So bring your foot back into center, rise up to the high point of your blocks, and work your hips back, front leg towards straight. And then pull toes back, send sitting bones up, extend your heart forward. Full breath. One more big breath right here. And then you're bending into your front knee, bringing hands to the inside, and then heel toe your front foot out. And then extend your heart forward and work down as low as your body is ready for, coming into that alligator version of this pose. Elbows onto blocks or the floor. Full deep inhale and exhale. Two more big breaths. Okay, and now we're rising up to our hands and then coming to the outside edge of our right leg. So you might have to turn or shift or move the left leg to help that happen. But then all the way down to the hip if that's comfortable. And then you're turning more toward the front of your mat with your torso. And I like today especially to come up to a block here on my elbows. Take a full deep breath. And notice for yourself if there's a difference in sensation on this side. Couple more big breaths. And then you're rising back to your hands and shifting back to that lunging position for your twist. So setting right hand on the edge of your mat, left hand to your knee to turn your torso and turn your heart toward the left side. Shoulder blades are on your back. Big breath. And then both hands back down and settle back onto your hands and knees. And one more time, shift hips back towards your heels and whatever variation of child's pose feels the best in your body. You can even take a moment to shift and move if that feels the best to you. And now gently bring yourself back upright and come all the way down onto sitting bones. And first thing, we'll take a little bit of a wide stance for a forward fold. You can grab a rolled up blanket or a pillow or bolster to set underneath your legs. And then we're taking our legs wide if that's comfortable. If it's not, you can take them more narrow, but basically out toward the edges of your bolster. And then move your sitting bones. And then press down with fingertips and lift up high through your heart. And from this place, as you fold, you get to come to the variation of fold here that feels the best. So you might hold on to your toes or your shins, or one of my favorites is elbows pressing into my thighs, or you can even come to elbows against your bolster in between your legs. Full big deep breath, wherever that is. Feel free to let your eyes close here if that feels good, or feel free to keep them open if that feels better. As with any restorative poses, feel free at any time to shift how you are in the pose. Come to the place where your body feels the most able to let go of what it's holding on to. Have another 3 full breaths right here. Then inhale, gently bring yourself back upright. And we're gonna walk our feet in and slip the bolster out of the way. And then we'll come to our sitting up version of our windshield wipers for just a moment. So soles of feet, or rather heels, I don't know where that came from, out to the outside edges of your mat. Hands come behind you and give your feet a little flex. And then rock side to side with your legs. Both knees to one side, both knees to the other side. And you can really decide here how deeply to take your knees, how deeply to turn. One more time on each side. Okay. And then come back into center. And now we're going to work a little bit more through the shoulders. I'm going to turn sideways so you can see. Hopefully my big bulky sweater won't be too difficult to see with. So I'm going to take my hands behind me. I'm going to walk them back a little ways. And fingers are aimed back. Shoulder blades are on your back. And then lift up with your chest. And from this place, we're going to inch our hips a little further away from our hands to the point where we still feel control through the shoulders. So wherever that is, you might walk it back if there's a little bit too much going on there, or if you feel it even through the elbows. Sometimes this is a little bit tough on the tendons. There we go. Take a full breath and lift your chest. Shoulder blades engage. And then inch your hips back and turn your hands around. And this time we're going to keep our hips right where they are, but just open with our chest. So fingertips are either aimed out or straight ahead toward our toes. I like a little bit out because that's about where my shoulders are. So as you press down, lift up like you're trying to take a little bit of a back bend. Hips stay on the ground, shoulder blades engaged. Take a deep breath. Okay, one more time. Rise back up and we're going to turn our fingertips back. And then push and draw shoulder blades onto your back, lifting up with your chest, and then inch your hips away from your hands. Maybe inch them a couple times. Come to that place where you can stay stable and lifted, shoulder blades engage. Full breath. And then inch your hips back and turn your hands around. And again, remember, we're not shifting anywhere with our hips, but we're finding fingertips either a little out or toes pointed toward your feet. Press, lift with your heart. Little gentle heart opener. Shoulder blades engage. Deep breath. And now gently rise all the way back up. And now we're going to switch again to focus on the hips. So make sure that you have props handy so that you can choose. We're going to take our fire log pose. So right leg becomes your base first. And think of coming to about parallel with the front of your mat with your shin, approximately. And then your left leg, either your ankle crosses past your knee or you bring your foot in front of you, whichever is where your nervous system can settle the best. If your ankle is past your knee and you can take some breaths, and kind of calm your system down, maybe you bring a blanket underneath or block underneath your leg to give yourself a little support. Take a couple big breaths wherever you're choosing to be and sit tall. And if you feel like your nervous system has settled a little bit, then maybe you even walk your hands a little forward. Sometimes when you do that, you can even prop out from underneath your top leg. Full big deep breath, keep feet engaged. Extend your heart forward. Even think of having that intention of tilting your sitting bones up behind you. And then gently inhale and rise back up. And gently uncross the legs. And then we're creating that base with our left leg. And again, shin approximately parallel with the front of your mat. Right foot, either the ankle comes past the knee here. If you bring it to the inside of the knee, oftentimes you end up sickling the ankle or turning it. So we're trying to keep the ankle really stable, or bring your foot in front. That cross of the legs is what's giving this stretch and hip opening per se. It's actually not really opening. So as you find that place for yourself, you again can prop yourself if that brings you a little bit more support. Press down through fingertips, lift your heart up high, take a full breath and notice what this stretch is like for you. Notice where it's showing up, how it's showing up. Make sure feet are active, and then if your nervous system is starting to settle a little bit in this place, then maybe you walk your hands forward. Maybe you come forward with your hands and you're like, nope, that's not it today, and walk your hands back. That's okay too, or bring them up a little higher. Big breath. Remember that tilt of sitting bones. You're trying to tilt your sitting bones up, right? So creating a lumbar curve. Two more big breaths right here. And then inhale, gently bring yourself back upright and gently uncross the legs. And then we'll take a roll of blanket. And we're going to use that underneath our spines. And as you come to rest over it, think of it being the length of your spine. Open your arms up to either a cactus or a T with your palms facing up. And knees drop in together here to touch if that's comfortable. You can always take a different variation with your legs. But take some full breaths and notice whatever tension there is around the muscles along your spine, anywhere in your back body, maybe through the front of the chest. Really, whatever is showing up for body sensation for you. You have about 3 more full, big, deep breaths right here. And then gently roll over to one side, push yourself up, move your blanket aside, and then we're going to come all the way back down, but this time we're going to take our feet into butterfly with our blankets around our feet. So as you set your blanket over your feet and underneath your legs, let your legs open up. And then you can start to shift your way back down into your resting pose here to let yourself settle, let your hips open. And if you feel as if a little more support through the hips or the knees would be helpful, then maybe grab your blocks for underneath your knees as well. Now, if you want to, you can reach your arms overhead for a little bit more of a stretch here through the torso, or you can get that cactus place or goalpost or T with your arms. Take some big, deep breaths. Take about 5 more full deep breaths right here. And now gently draw your legs back to center and even pull your knees up close as is comfortable, to rock a couple times side to side. Then we'll take one spinal twist. We're going to take our legs over to the left side. And now from here, the bottom leg, the left leg, is going to work further back toward the right side. So your thigh is working more straight ahead. And then you can inch your hips into a little bit more of a twist here, but ultimately you're finding where your shoulders are open toward the ceiling. And then just notice for yourself, if this isn't comfortable, you might notice that my top knee is a little bit lifted from the ground here. If that's not comfortable for you, you can always set something underneath it. For me, it feels okay. It doesn't strain anything. So take a full, big, deep breath. I think of this as kind of that running position for the legs. And so it's a good sized twist with the hips. And basically from the ribs down. Take another couple of breaths right here. And notice if you need to shift to something that's a little bit more comfortable. Maybe this doesn't feel easeful or gentle to you. Or maybe it feels amazing. You get to just decide what it is for you today. And then gently start to bring your bottom leg back. And then bring your legs back up to center. Shift yourself back into more of a neutral place for a moment and take a big breath. And now lift your knees and take your legs over to the right side. And same thing, bottom leg, your right leg is going to inch its way toward the left. And you might physically inch your hips into a little bit more of a twist here. You might adjust your shoulders, whatever you need to do to find a little bit more of an easeful place for yourself, including propping that top knee up. As you take a couple breaths, you can notice for yourself whatever this twist feels like. Where is it showing up in your body? How does this side feel compared to the other side? And now bottom leg moves back to the right. And then bring your legs back to center. And just for a moment in this neutral place, settle yourself for a full breath. And then begin to set yourself up into your most comfortable resting pose. Take the time to find what helps your body to settle the best. And as you start to find that place for yourself, bring your awareness into a little bit of a body scan, noticing from your feet to your crown, gentle awareness as you take your next couple of breaths. Noticing any of those places where you're holding on, where there's tension, even subtle tension. See if you can utilize your breath as that tool to help release that tension. Begin to take a deeper breath. And gently, slowly start to add some movement into fingers and toes. As you're ready to, you can bend your knees and roll to your side. And then slowly, gently press yourself back up to your seat. And from your seat, take a moment to make it comfortable. Sit up on something. Make sure that you can sustain a long spine for a few minutes. And then as you let your eyes close, take a few moments to tune back into your breath, observing it move. Noticing your inhale move from your crown to your tail. And your exhale moves from your tail to your crown. Inhale down your front. Exhale up your back. For a few moments, follow your breath in this direction. And now begin to bring your awareness to the base of your spine, all the way at your tail. At your root, imagine the color red. And for a couple breaths, think, I'm always safe at the center of my being. I'm always safe at the center of my being. Bring your awareness just a little further up to about your sacrum. And imagine the color orange. And think to yourself, I flow with the rhythms of life, open to the goodness around me. I flow with the rhythms of life, open to the goodness around me. And now bring your awareness just a little higher up to your solar plexus, above the navel. And imagine the color yellow. For a couple of breaths, think, I stand in my personal power. I stand in my personal power. Bring your awareness up to your heart space. And imagine the color green. For a couple of breaths, think, I open my heart to fully living. I open my heart to fully living. And now bring your awareness up to your throat. And imagine a bright blue. And think for a couple of breaths, I follow and speak my own truth. I follow and speak my own truth. Bring your awareness to your third eye and to the color indigo. For a couple of breaths, think, I follow the path of my own truth, open to the clarity of my vision. I follow the path of my own truth, open to the clarity of my vision. And bring your awareness up to your crown. And this color can either show up for you as purple or clear. It can change, it doesn't even have to stay the same. Take a couple of breaths with that color, whatever it shows up for you, or shows up as for you. There are two Sanskrit syllables of so, hum, which translate to approximately, I am already always present. So for a few breaths, let's think of those two syllables. Inhaling so, exhaling hum. Bring hands to connect at heart center. Take your thumbs to your third eye and back to your heart, and bow toward your heart. Have a very beautiful day. Have a wonderful weekend. Namaste. Thanks, you guys.